What's up, everybody? We'll give a few minutes for everybody to get filtered in here. Got a couple balls to drill. I've got a couple balls to do some plug work on, and then I've got a couple balls to reslug if I have time. These are a couple of the... For everybody to get filtered in here. Shut up. Got a couple balls. The voice is so annoying. My hand has changed in the last couple months, and so I made a small adjustment to my fit, and it wasn't quite enough. And so part of the issue, part of the thing when I was out filming for these is that it just, everything seems to be locking up on my hand, and so I needed to make another adjustment. For whatever reason, my hand decided to shrink, so we are going to just be cutting a little bit off the span on these two specifically, because these are my favorite ones out of the new 5 that I put videos up for yesterday. The effect is a little too, I like it, but it's a little too forward off the end of the pattern, and with as deep as I have to get it down the lane. That doesn't quite work. The Outer Limits Pearl is just way too strong to throw, and then the GB5 is something I probably won't be able to throw in league, but it's going to nationals and probably. But these two are ones that I can throw in league and that I will be throwing at out-of-town house shot tournaments. We've got a few things coming up. So we got Southwest and Wichita coming up here for too long, and then I guess it'll be Ozarks in June, first weekend of June. So, all right, we got some peoples in here. So... I went ahead and drill the stuff first so that everybody can see what I got. This one I don't think is a surprise. So I'm going to do this first and make everybody live in suspense for the other one. I got a purple snake ball. So, and this is kind of cool because before I signed my storm contract was 2015 when I signed it. And pretty well everything that I was throwing was motive. I had a Covert Revolt, I had a Silver Tribal, I had a and then a Sigma Tour, and I had a few other balls too. But those, once I got those 3, it's like I can just take these anywhere, and I only needed the 3 of them, so that's all I took. And then once I started talking about getting a contract, then I drilled up the High Road Solid, which was not good, and a Sinister. And that was right before the Venom Shock came out. And so I think the Venom Shock either came out in late 2014 or early 2015. And so I never got to throw one. And everybody has been asking how it compares to some of the new Brunswick stuff, specifically the Scorpion Low Flare, because they're pretty close. This is what, 248.034, and I think that's pretty well right on top of the Scorpion Low Flare. So I'm going to drill me a purple snake ball. First thing I'm going to do, probably, I don't have any shiny footage. This is kind of, what is this? 4,000 laser scan sanded. The Scorpion Low Flare came at 2,000 grit, but looked more like 1,000, and so I'd better put this thing on the resurfacing machine.
Where are you?
Am I off the screen? Am I off the screen? I'm off the screen.
I fixed.
Went off the grid.
Hang on.
So, those are 1,000 grit pads, but I've had them, that's probably 75 balls worth of stuff that's gone on there, so I'll put a few minutes on that. That'll be close to the Scorpion Low Flare, so at least I'll have an accurate comparison there. What are you doing, Buck?
Go say hi.
Buck.
Go say hi.
Buck. You wanna come say hi? Come here, buddy. Come here. It's like, can you come here? Come here. I know. What are you doing? Come here. What are you doing, Buck? Can you hop up here? You want to try it? You want to try it? You want to try it? There you go. Hi to Buck. I know. Bucko had an incident. I know. He got a cut under his eye, and it had to get stitches, and so he's going to be a conehead for another week or so.
We don't know how he got slashed, but he got slashed somehow. It was gruesome. It just happened just Monday. And he can't get the stitches out until the 15th. So he's in the cone until then.
Buddy. You nice. I know. You want down? You make it? Okay. Good job, Buck. Poor Buck. We're gonna keep this one a secret. This one's top secret. And then we have a couple, got a virtual energy blackout that we're fixing up and rehoming. And then an eternal domination that I threw right-handed and then plugged and drilled it left-handed. And it didn't really look that great for me with either hand, so it's getting rehomed. Yeah, Angel did the thumb. So, and the fingers are back into plug, and it's kind of a conglomerate of all kinds of things. And so, there's not really any colors there to try to match. So, probably just gonna go with a dark silver, or might do this this purple pearl again because that looks pretty cool. So, and the blackout is extremely easy. And then, like I said, I'll reslug these and get these to fit in a little bit better because they're just, my hand changed and it's just spans a little too long now for whatever reason. So, and it's just catching. It's catching just enough. All right, we're about done on the resurfacing machine. Smells great. I don't know if anybody gets to be around a resurfacing machine very often, but for whatever reason, you resurface a couple balls, give it about a week, and the water just smells like sewer. I don't know why. I don't understand it. But, all right. These Jayhawk Diamond Dust pads are something else. Because that was just a couple minutes on 1,000 grit pads that have been used. I don't know. It's 75 balls anyway. I've had them on there for a year and a half, and I bought some replacements because I thought I was going to have to change them. Haven't had to change them yet. And they look like they're getting worn, but when I get a finish like this, like why would I change the pads? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's dull, and if I get super close, you can see some lines, but that's about the smoothest, prettiest 1,000 grit you're ever going to get. I mean, that's just freaking immaculate. Most like Abralon pads, True Cut pads, or whatever else, they just kind of scratch the living hell out of stuff. This is a, this is just a super smooth, consistent, true 1,000 grit finish here. So, yeah, the pour is pretty nice. Yes. Mojito. No-hito. So, yeah, let me promo something here. Get a cue one. Get a cue looking one. It's a kind of a green sparkly spinner. Scarred Prince. Rosedoll 10 gets you 10% off. So yeah, the saying the pour looks cool. Yep, it's got some hook milk in there. Let's see how long. There's the pin. There's the CG right there. So yeah, it's kind of a cool looking pours. And this one I'm on the fence about because, again, it's a Venom Shock, but this general shape of ball doesn't typically look that great for me. So we'll see what happens. But I'm on the fence because it's not necessarily forward. It's kind of directional, but directional stuff doesn't really look that great for me. So let's put some lines on it here, and I'm just going 5x2 like I've been doing on everything. I'm finding out, and that's part of the problem, is that going with a 5-inch pin on this is probably going to make it a little long and straight-ish, but that's how I'm drilling everything else, and this mostly for the sake of a video, but at the same time, I think I probably will get some use and some utility out of it somehow. We'll see. I mean, I'm not drilling it specifically for a video, but I could go back to using dual angle, but I still prefer the VLS. So I'm going to make my fake mass bias down here. Again, the second number for VLS doesn't matter, just like the first number in dual angle doesn't matter on a symmetric ball, but it's just easier to lay the ball out when you pick one. Doesn't have to mean anything, but you got to pick one. So just 5x4x2. So dot goes on top of the pin. I'll make my 5-inch circle arc. And then stay up here and make my pin buffer arc. And then 4 inches. So then you see I've got my X here, I've got my pin buffer arc. And so basically I just draw a line through that X. So this is 5 inches from the pin to this arc, 4 inches from the mass bias to this arc. Those make an X. And so then I have my pin buffer arc. And then I just draw a line through the X to the tangent of the arc, which is just the outermost, or the furthest, wherever the line just kisses the edge of this arc. And my axis point is 5 3/8 over and 3/4 up. So from where my fingers are going to go about right here. And so measuring from the center of my grip, it's 5 3/8 over and 3/4 up. So this is my positive axis point. So I'm going to go 3/4 down and 5 3/8 over. And that's one thing that trips people up about layouts, is the layout's not where your fingers go. The layout tells you where the fingers go. Because basically what this point is this is your positive axis point, and so then you measure backwards. So instead of coming across and up, I go down and back over from my positive axis point. So I'm going to measure 3/4 down on my vertical axis line to confuse everybody. I'll get to questions here in a second. I'm sure I got a few of them. Then I'm going to measure over 5 3/8. This is my grip midline. So came 5 3/8 over, and then I'm going to 90 back off of it again. And my span now is 4 3/8, or 4 and, what is it now? I have to remeasure again. I think it's 4 7/16 by 4.5. Sorry, I gotta find something here. Forgot what my new numbers were. Yeah, it's 4 7/16 by 4.5. So I'll just basically go with 4.5. So I'll measure up 2 1/4 inches. So this line splits my grip in half. So my fingers will be an equal distance up here as my thumb is down from the line. So 4.5 inch span basically. So I'm going to measure up 2 1/4 inches. And then I kind of cheat a little bit here. So I just draw, even though I have a difference, I've got a little bit of my middle finger grip is a little bit bigger than my ring finger grip. And actually I measure, to get the difference, I measure the bottom of the bit to the top of this line. And then as soon as I move over here, I measure the bit to the bottom of this line. And then with the little bit of offset from my grip sizes, that gets me a 1/16 just perfectly without even having to screw around with measuring stuff. Whoops. All right. James is answering most of the stuff in here. Venom Shock was released April 1st, 2014. Yep, and the Primal Rage. Yep, I'm drilling the EJ ball. Hilarious. Be a Jackal Ghost in the other box? No. Let's see. Good evening. Secret Ball and Evoker Pink Venom. No and no. How old is the other motive ball? I actually don't know. Orange inserts. Yeah, I hate the visual look of it right-handed, and then when I started lefty again, I kind of like the having a different colored thumb slug in there, but then that got kind of old. So yeah, the pencil thing's a mechanical pencil. Also, yeah, custom housing. So yeah, yep. Caught up. I know what's in the box. All right. All right, that looks about, it passes the finger test. Pin's up a little high, I think, maybe, I don't know. I think it's just the 3 1/4 basically, 1 to 3, yeah. 1 to long, 1 to 3, whatever. I measured, I could have done the finger, give it the finger method. What are you doing, Buck? I gotta unplug and plug my fridge back in. The freezer and the beer fridge, there's some kind of a sensor or something that's all screwed up, and so it'll just keep cycling on and off and on and off and on and off. If I go and plug it back in, all of a sudden it works fine. All right. I also have a special way that I do my grips. I used to do kind of like a hybrid vacuum so that because you know you're wider at the knuckle than you are at the tip down here, and so I like them form fitting better, and so I would get smaller grips that fit down here, but then they'd be way too tight up here, and so basically I just bevel or funnel the top of the fingers so everything fit like a perfect form fit from top to bottom. But that started getting a little crazy with the bevel, and it was a little hard to get, you know, anytime, the more work you do, the harder it is to replicate something. And so what I did, I decided to go up one grip size, but I drop down a bit, kind of like a vacuum grip. So I use the 31/32 bit to start. I drill down an inch, and then I drop down a bit size to a 61/64 to kind of create the basically same deal. It just shortcuts it a little bit. So it creates the little bit smaller at the bottom, a little bit bigger at the top type of thing. I also adjusted, my lateral pitches are still 3/8 each direction, but I've gone to a quarter reverse now in the fingers instead of an eighth reverse. Helps seat I think that's part of the other thing, is I was reaching under a little far, and so that rocks your hand up towards the fingers. And so just by relaxing a little bit of reverse, it helps seat my hand back a little bit further on the ball so that I can get my thumb socket on top of the thumb hole where it's supposed to be. What you talking about, Buck? Where's my buddy? Where's my buddy? You want me to open the door back up? You want to go back outside? Whoa. The other doggies want to go, so you want to go outside, Buck? All right, hang on, Buck. I know. Uh-huh. Through the door, sir. You cone head. I know, Missy. All right. And am I lined up here? Close enough. All right, loud noises. The other convenient thing is that it goes right underneath the cover stock, because the cover stock on most bowling balls is about 3/4 of an inch thick, and so I go an inch down, and so basically I just get the bit through the cover stock and drop down to the other one. I think probably what happened with my fit is just because of the way that I was doing it, because I was beveling the top of the hole so much more, and so it was creating kind of some artificial, it was creating a lot of extra play and some artificial reverse. And so I think that it's probably just how I was doing the finger holes was kind of disguising my fit change or my hands changing. And it's kind of a normal thing as people get older. The pro shop world generally suggests that you get your fit checked every 1 to 2 years, just to make sure that everything's still the same. You get old and start shrinking and things change. So I think it was just one of those things. As soon as I changed the way I did my fingers, the span then felt a little bit long, and so I cut a 1/16 off of it then. But now I think my hand kind of rebounded from that. I went ahead and took some of that off, and so that was fine, and then my hand slowly adjusted to the new fit. It still needed a little bit more.
Pull the mistletoe.
Mistletoe. little below the line here.
Yeah, I caught you.
And what you doing, Buck? Full vengeance. Have to reboot the fridge. Yeah, my Venom recoil smelled like gasoline when it was drilled. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, mine. I mean, it has an interesting smell, but it doesn't necessarily smell bad. Wonder if Bobcat took a swipe at old Buck there. No, we don't have Bobcats. We live in Kansas. No Bobcats. We've got some like chicken wire and some random stuff out in the backyard, so I think he was probably chasing something, a mouse or a lizard or something like that, and then just stuck his face into the corner or edge of it. So.
Well, there are cats that hang out there though too. That's still
Yeah, we got cats in the cats next door. So,
and just wild cats.
yeah.
Stray.
Chickens. I also have chickens next door too. He could have taken a peck to the face.
I'm sure you can get his face that far.
Yeah.
I don't know. Since we didn't see it. Bugs 3, the door that's open.
Yeah, 4 7/16. Drill down just far enough to get an edge on that hole so that I can remeasure it and make sure that the line is in fact in the correct place, and it's not somehow. Weird. Okay. Whoop, nope, not that one. Not that one. Got a oversized 1.25 bit so that the slugs fit in there easier, but I've got a couple slugs that are a little deformed, so they're slightly smaller. And so I defaulted to the oversized. And I'm just going to use the regular 1.25. The turbo slugs are always really, really tight in the regular 1.25 holes, and so going with the decimal is 1.25 for the standard 1.25, but the oversized is 1.255, which gives you just enough extra room so that you don't have to, really hammer down on the press to get the slug in. Yeah, the effect smells like oranges, and Storm's patent on scented balls is abandoned. Yeah, it expired, and yeah, and so that's the thing. Yeah, the effect, we were really surprised because the effect does smell like citrus, and I just thought, okay, well, it's some new, I don't know, maybe it's a new additive in the cover, maybe it's some new thing that they're finishing with or cleaning it with so that they don't smell like paint. But everybody's saying it's like, yeah, I think it's actually a thing. Now, I think that they probably, instead of announcing it, they'll probably just put it out there and see how people respond to it. You're going to have plenty of people say, oh, they're just copying Storm. And it's like, well, yeah, but a lot of the time when patents run out for things, and seeing that Brunswick stuff, most of it does smell like spray paint. People would rather, even if they're copying Storm, it's probably better for something to smell like citrus than spray paint. But it might be one of those things that's negative enough PR to, it's like, yeah, they might test it out and see how people respond to it. And if they don't catch too much flack for it, they might start doing it. And if people get annoyed, then yeah, it's still kind of tight. Much more, Buck. You talk about, sir? I'm not sure he knows what he's doing. He's just kind of standing there yowling.
I know what he wants, but I'm not leaving that door open.
Yeah. Sorry, Buck.
Nope. And you're not going outside by yourself? Sorry. You may never go outside by yourself again.
Yeah. lock up, don't lock up, don't lock up, don't lock up, don't lock up. There we go. Almost time to get my router bit sharpened. It's right at that point where it takes a little bit more work to get the slug smooth. At first, when they're dead sharp, I mean, you just cut the crap out of the ball. So it's best to, you know, cut some plug or something a couple times to kind of take that edge off, and then you have to be kind of careful with it. But once it starts getting dull, it won't quite get the slug flush because the slug is kind of soft. And so it just kind of compresses it or pushes it down just a little bit, and you'll cut the ball before you get the slug flush. And it's just right at that point where I've got to go just a little bit extra, but it's still getting it done. So I know, Buck. What are you talking about, sir? All right. We'll fix that one up here in a minute. I'm sure everybody's dying to know what the special one is. Some people have already correctly guessed it. Purple Sneck ball. Favorite ball, what kind of glue? I use, Slow Zip. Favorite ball you drilled recently? It's a toss-up between the Hater or the Radical Conspiracy. I also drilled a Fresh Summit up, and that's also in the running. These are gonna need the Hater. I might actually be able to get away with throwing that. This one's gonna need some lane shine on it, or just a few games on it to settle it down. It's still kind of strong-ish. The Hater is very similar to the RSTX1, so that's nice. Bowler X has some Fates left at a good price. I think it's a good fresh ball at a high friction house. Yeah, if you take the shine off, you should be fine. Fate, I like the way that REX Pearl handles friction. Drilling the new idle? No, probably not. The biggest Summit glazer in the world. Ordered my second one. Yeah, I've actually got a whole nother case of Summits. So, no, the Hater is like the RSTX1. The Radical Conspiracy is Code X-ish, but it's stronger. This is like Halo, like original Halo. That's what the Radical Conspiracy acts like, or just like the original Conspiracy or the Guru, whatever else. Radical's made this basically this identical ball several times, but it's really, really good. So, I said in the review for this one, I'm like, I think it's one of those, you know, if you get a seasonal beer at your favorite brewery, you kind of wait for that time of the year and you don't go, oh man, it's the same seasonal beer again. It's like, no, it's every time Radical comes out with a ball that does what this ball does, everybody's excited about it. Looking for less than a phase 2, more than a hype solid. Yep, that'll work. Probably not drilling the new idol. I think it's going to be really close to the summit, and I already have, again, several summits. So, all right. Loud grumble, please. Buck, buck. Drum roll. All right. This is one that I've owned previously. And the previous owner, this is brand new in box, but the previous owner couldn't bring themselves to drill it and thought, of course, a longtime Motive staffer for a while, couldn't bring themselves to drill it and thought, okay, well, even if I like it, he's like, it would figure I'll probably drill it and like it and then I'm never going to be able to find another one. And so he's like, he knew I'd appreciate it, and so he got a couple balls in exchange. Yeah, I know. I got a little piece of skin that's driving me nuts. So, I really like this box. You know, it's a nice sturdy box. It, you know, I like where the handle's at, and it really feels like not gonna lose it. It's just really built sturdy, and yeah, I'm just a big fan of this box.
I'm gonna throw something in there. I'm gonna put a cone on your head. You're gonna need a cone on your head. The Venom Shock is back there.
And fun fact, this is not a repour. This is the original. This is an original first batch Covert Revolt, not a remake, not the special batch that they made a few years later. This is the OG, triple OG. I don't know if it's got the... To have to look at the serial number. WEH. We have to find see exactly what year this was made in. I don't know Motives.
WEH 03613.
But yes, so whenever this came out, 2012, whatever, this is it's one of the OGs. 247 RG 056 differential, so it's about as strong as you're going to get a symmetric ball.
I know your face itches. I know.
And we've had some gems sitting downstairs on the shelf, and it's one of those things. It's like there are some that I could be persuaded to part with if the price was right. But there's some of them that's like, well, they're not going anywhere.
But your wife might hurt you.
Yeah. Some of them is kind of like, okay, well, they're not going anywhere. And if I'm not going to sell them, it doesn't make any sense for them to just sit in a box on a shelf in a basement for nothing. It's like I can just as easily display it after I've thrown it and enjoyed it, and you know, so I'm going to throw it and enjoy it. Hopefully. This was one of my, like, and I'm going to leave it out. I'm going to leave it out. I'm not changing the surface. I'm going to leave it out the box. I think it's also 4000 laser scan. Yep. And we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to 5x2 it. It is a symmetric ball. And this was just a frickin' goat.
And these will be your first lefty motive, aren't they? Because you didn't
Yeah.
do any lefty.
Well, no, actually, I had 3 Primal Rages.
Oh, okay.
And one or two, I had 2 righty and 1 lefty.
Okay. I did not remember that.
That was actually the first, when I, whoop, what are you doing? That line doesn't need to, I just need the, whatever.
Go wash my face. I'll be right back.
Okay.
You come, Stormbach?
All right. Pow pow. 5x2. All right. E equals May, H is 2015, so this particular ball is a shade over 9 years old. Shade under 9, whatever. OG Super is my favorite ball. Basically the successor of those old Primal Rages. Yeah. Yeah, I miss when Motive made these pieces buttery smooth instead of them trying to chase it. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to print you a black and silver spinner for that ball specifically. What beer are we drinking? I'm actually drinking a sparkling water. Mojito. It's basically a mojito sparkling water, and it's fantastic. All right. And we'll see if a 9-year-old bowling ball looks decent. But I hope it's a freaking marble, because that's about it. It seems like about all I can throw. My the X Factor Reloaded that I drilled is freaking amazing because it's very smooth, and so that works out perfect for me as a lefty. It would probably suck right-handed. Hey, stop it, you guys! It's not his fault. He's got a cone, Piglet. I know it's not your fault. Piggy was trying to walk by Storm, ran into the cone, and then turned around and snapped at him. It's like, you didn't do it, sweetie. I know, Buck. Richard. New nickname's Harvey. Looks like Harvey Two-Face. I know, Buck. It looks a lot worse than it actually is. Now I'm going to have to remember because Angel had exactly the same finger pitches. She had 3/8. She's got 3/8 lateral each direction, and then an eighth reverse in her fingers. And now I'm just used to default to the same thing for both of us. Now I'm going to have to remember to not default to mine when I'm drilling her stuff. Loud noises. Talking about, Buck. What's your matter, buddy? What you talk about, buddy? Go film for these on Friday. What's your matter, Buck? What is Buck? What is Buck? You sadness, buddy? You sadness, buddy? What's your matter, buddy? He's your poor buddy. I know, he's your poor buddy.
I hear you. And guess what? You're stuck. Yeah, you're stuck. That's what happened.
These frickin' grips are so grippy. They're hard to get down in the holes with the smaller. Piggy tried to walk between him and the camera, and she caught herself on the cone and turned around and dipped at him. because she thought that he
Oh.
tagged him instead of her running into the cone.
Oh, sorry, Peg. That means you get in trouble. Let me get a chair. Let me get a chair. Come over here. You're good.
Question. Chat. Yep, 9 years old. It should be a marble by now, hopefully. Would be a good top of the ball bag for me. The big ASIMs don't seem to roll well for me as I have a reality and exotic gem that just roll like crap. Current bag is Envy Tour, Zen Soul, and Theorem. Yeah, one. Harrow. Match pretty well. It could be slightly speed dominant. You probably don't really need, especially if you're just it might be just if the Envy Tour works out okay for you. I think the Theorem's probably clean enough, and if the Envy Tour works out for you, it just might be the bigger differentials and bigger int diffs are getting the ball to lock up, and probably just over under. All right. Let's see what we got here. 4.5, 4 7/16. Perfect.
All right.
What's my body? Yeah, that's why those don't feel good. What's my body? Perfect. drill in an ebonite core. Oh, naturally. Okay, well, that doesn't feel too bad. Okay, I can still get the slug in there. It's really warm.
So what happens when you drill more than one?
No, it just happens when it gets a little, so I just hit the core in an interesting spot. And so there's core on one side and then there's filler material on the other side. And these cores are extra dense like in ebonite balls.
Oh.
And they're just harder to drill. So they're annoying.
Okay.
Once again, I'm going to scuff up the side of the slug. It just gives a little bit of...
Skip this ad, but don't skip the part that can help you get the job
There's a
done.
lot of...
At Grainger, we're here for you with
It's gonna take
supplies and
like 5
solutions for
minutes to
every
do that.
industry.
What?
Call clickgrainger.com or just
Oh.
stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Page isn't loaded, so I can't use it.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't
What?
do anything.
Okay. Well, I guess just take it back in there for a minute or something.
Huh?
Just take it back in there for a minute or something.
I can't get up, it's him.
Oh. Tried the new Ebonite Emerge. No, I do want one of the Emerge hybrids. I probably won't get one at this point. Did you go up on the surface on the GB5? That thing was chalky, and yeah, that's how it came out of. That's how it came out of the box. It's going to have to go up. I am going to use it though, because I do like the ball, and I think that once I again take it out in the parking lot, kick it around, knock some of that surface down. I do really like the way that it reacts. It just orders of magnitude too strong. And a lot of people in the comments were telling me the same thing. It's like, yeah, I can't ever throw any of the game breakers at box. It's just way too strong. I don't know where people are bowling on the oil volumes that they're making this stuff for, but definitely not around here. And especially, I mean, that's the other thing, is that's why I actually use the challenge pattern, because it's a little longer and it's got a little bit more volume than what most people bowl on. But it helps us get it gives us a better look at the stuff, because if the lanes are drier, weaker stuff hooks more, and so it kind of makes and stronger stuff tends to puke a little bit, and so it gives, if you bowl on a house shot, or if I were to film on a house shot, it kind of gives a false reading of how strong the low end stuff is. It makes all the low end stuff look too strong, and it makes all the high end stuff look not strong enough, or the weak stuff looks stronger than it actually is, and the strong stuff looks weaker than it actually is. And so on this challenge pattern, everything is very representative of what it actually does, and the comparisons are very representative between the balls. So, and I've used the strongest of the strong on, I mean, all the big strong storm stuff at, box or whatever, and all looks, or 2000 grit, whatever, it all looks fine. And man, some of this stuff, everybody was saying that they really think that HK22 is kind of Brunswick's equivalent of R2S, and I'm like, no, it's almost their equivalent of like NRG or NEX or something like that. It's so much stronger than REX even. And again, I throw a 3000 grit Summit. I've got a brand new 2000 grit Summit that I threw out of the box that looks fine in league, just kind of putting it down third arrow like I did with my other one. And I can't get this other nonsense down the lane on the challenge pattern, let alone a house shot. So it's kind of the unfortunate thing with all the Brunswick stuff is I like the way that the vast majority of it rolls. I really like it a lot, but most of it's just too strong to actually be usable for me most of the time, which is unfortunate. The Ultimate Defender settled down, and that looks really good. The Hater, I think, is going to be in that same place, and if I get a little bit of... The problem is that I need more... The stuff's already flippy with surface on it, and so I need less surface to get the ball to be in play, but that's also going to make it sharper, and I'm not sure that that's what I want, or that's going to work. It's one of those things where it's kind of like the Journey was for me. The Journey was flippy as hell, and the amount of surface that it took to slow the ball down made it too strong to throw. So I like the way that it rolled, but it just was not in the right spot for me. Unfortunately, that's just kind of the story of the left side of the lane, is that everything's normally too strong and flippy. So something that's just super early, slow chugboat, like a Summit, works perfectly. Anything even marginally faster than that, and... Alright. Put this back.
Hey, Missy, it's okay, Miss. You can stay. I know, you're okay, sweetie. I know, you're okay.
All right, kind of basically finish this stuff, and then we'll...
You want to move the camera closer?
Yeah.
Because I can't.
Hi, Buck. Hi, Buck. You poor Buck. What are you doing, Buck? All right.
Are you using your phone over there?
No.
Can I have it then?
So just Brunswick finishing process with the... No, I mean yeah, what James said. The Brunswick covers are just stronger than the Storm covers. The finishing process, I mean, a 2000 grit's 2000 grit. It doesn't really matter how you finish. Shiny, and 2000 grit's 2000 grit. Of course, there are several different polishes and several different levels of polish, so shiny is not exactly completely accurate. 2000 grit's 2000 grit. So that's not gonna, the type of pad isn't gonna make something stronger or weaker. They just, Brunswick uses significantly stronger covers. Let's see here. Let's get my face right in the camera. may look like I'm using a lot of bevel on the thumb, but this is a cordless sander. It goes a little, the RPMs are a little slower. Plus, the pads I've got on here are just chewed to all living hell. I'm not entirely sure that they do much anymore, and so this is nice to have well-worn sanding discs, because then you can control how much it takes out a lot better. The ring finger doesn't need any help whatsoever. The middle finger normally needs a little bit extra taken out of the top just to fit. Oh boy. Feels fantastic. I need a little bit more out of that middle finger. Lose a grip somewhere. Probably knocked it off or sucked it up and wasn't even paying any attention. Yeah, I don't know. Probably just took it out and put it down somewhere and probably hit it with a towel or something happened.
Put those boxes off the table.
Huh? Oh no, it's not all the way over here. I put the grips out here, and I probably just knocked them over and didn't realize that I knocked them over. So.
Sure, come up and you need it on the next ball.
It didn't sound like it went up in the. It sounded like it went up in the. It's mildly annoying.
Bubbles, careful, Bubbles. Yes.
Didn't sound like I sucked one up in the vacuum. It's gonna bug the living hell out of me now.
Good job, Bubbles. Good job, Bubbles.
It's not on the floor. Whatever. It's extremely annoying. This fell down and rolled somewhere, but
Well, get on with it, otherwise it'll be good.
whatever. Very extremely annoying.
You're a sugar boy.
Roll it in some dirt to be able to get it in the frickin' hole. What, Woof? You said a Woof?
Yeah, he's taking his cone and running it into my butt.
Yeah. Oh, that feels amazing. All right. Definitely in good shape there. Yeah, that little finger's just a little tight.
With the ball. You can sit. Oh, you can. Okay.
There we go. Now we're in business.
I need to finish this before this time's out.
Sweet. All right. So, here's a freshie. Let me see. Those feel good. Those feel good. And these feel exactly like those do, so I think I can go on ahead and glue them in. Save me the trouble later. Just getting all the dust off here. Oh, buddy, poor buddy. All right. All right, well, this new bottle of glue is already pissing me off. It doesn't seem like the bottle got labeled correctly. Because it's very thin and it's setting very quickly. I specifically get slow zip because it's the opposite of that.
What are you doing over there?
Matter of fact, that's why it's named Slow Zip. Because it's thicker, and then it gives you a few seconds to get it where you want it before just clamping up like crazy glue or some kind of other super glue or something. So this is like the Slow Zip for number one, so it doesn't lock up when you're putting slugs in, and number two, so that you can get the other side of the grip pushed down and set where you want it before it locks up.
Which one? Which one?
Okay, see, that's the good stuff right there. Might be throwing this bottle away. This stuff's terrible. Okay, well, it's not locking up too fast. Let me get it where I wanted it. guess I could be working over here where y'all can see me, but I need the light. What would 5x5x3 and 2LS be close to in dual angle? Well, I don't know, because you don't really measure them from the same place. That's kind of the point of course, you can translate it. You can translate 2LS layouts, but most of the time they end up with like negative pin buffer numbers, or like negative val angles. Okay, we're okay. But yeah, the thin crap, like I said in the chat, yeah, it locks up super quick and it's really easy to glue yourself to the ball. However, you're supposed to glue the grip down towards the bottom of the grip. You don't want to glue up near the cover stock, because the glue gets in the cover stock and expands and contracts at a different rate than the ball. And so that makes that actually contributes to cracking. So that's why you don't want to do that.
You happy boy. Thank you.
So that's why I've got, on this glue bottle, I've got an extender tip so that I can continue. So as the glue bottle glues itself shut, basically I can just cut the extender tip down, and so I don't have to cut the actual tip of the bottle off and keep making it shorter and shorter before the lifespan has gone out. And that also helps get deeper in between the ball than the other side of the ball and the grip, so that you can get the glue further down in the hole more easily.
Sweetie, I gotta finish here. I got 2 more lines. I know, it's miserable.
And again, I just do a little bit of glue on each side of the hole. Do some near the bridge, some near the bridge, and then some on the outside of the hole. That still gives you some flexibility. And again, the other thing about not gluing the grips around the top is you still have some flex on these grips up at the top of the hole, instead of having them just glued like sideways so that they're super uncomfortable. These still flex. These are still comfortable. And when you go to take them out, they're also quite a bit easier to... Is that stuck, or is it... Yeah, it's stuck. That's annoying. But it's quite a bit easier to take them out, because then you just... And actually, out of balls that I am not going to use anymore, it's super easy to salvage grips that I've only... if I go filming and throw it a couple times in the league, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to work out, I can save the grips, because all I have to do is just work down one side. I pull the grip out, put this in, and work down one side, and then work down the other side. It just pops right out. So, all right, that ball feels amazing, very chalky. This ball's the one that I'm really excited about. Pow pow. All right. We shall move on going to do with the blackout, I've already plugged half of the thumb hole, so I need to drill the gloss off the top.
Are you watching the time too?
Yeah. So what I've got, you see it shiny in there on the top of the other plug. New plug doesn't really like to bond to that, and so I'm going to put this back on the press and drill the gloss off the top so that I can have a fresher cut surface for the plug to bond to. What are you talking about, Buck? What are you talking about, Buck? Alright, this is bothering me. I gotta pull this out and see if I did in fact. Oh, no, it's down here. Somehow it just made its way all the way off the table.
Alright, now can you relax?
Go figure. Yeah, I knew it was here somewhere. I have no idea how it got on the floor, though. Naturally. All right. Perfect. What, Buck? All right, so we're good side to side, front, back. What's my buddy? Little poor buddy. All right. So, virtual energy blackout is. Can you bring my phone over here and use the light?
Yes.
So, if you get. We may not need it. If we get super. That actually doesn't help. So if you get super close on the blackout, you can see a lot of, it's actually not black. It's a very, very dark blue. And you can see that it's got gold sparkles, silver sparkles. That looks better. So yeah, you can see it's a very dark purplish blue. Oh, thanks for hanging out, Silver. So this is actually very, very easy to match. This is 2 drops of black, 1 drop of blue, 1 drop of silver, 1 drop of gold. And you see now that I've cut the gloss off the top, it's a whole lot rougher surface, and so it's going to be a whole lot easier for the plug to bond to. Back on, blind everybody. Boxes. Stupid. Trouble with this stupid pump. All right. Black, blue. Okay. All right. You can see it here, so we're gonna do 2 drops of black. One drop of blue. Drop of gold. One drop of silver. And then for I do something interesting for mixing my plug. If you just stir like this or with a popsicle stick or whatever else, it creates an awful lot of drag. And so that creates more bubbles. But a bigger stick and putting it in a hand drill, if it's spinning while you're stirring and it's spinning in the direction that you're stirring, there's a whole lot less drag. So what we're doing here.
What?
See, with that spinning, there's very little drag. You're going to have some bubbles no matter what, and there's bubbles just from pumping the stuff in here. But you have very, very little drag, so you're not going to create the larger bubbles or so many bubbles. And then every once in a while, I'll do a reverse pass backwards to kind of scrape the stuff off the sides. Oops. There we go. Do that. Get the stuff off the bottom. Make sure. See, I'm mixing fairly quickly, and there's a couple little tiny bubbles, but it's just you don't have near the bubbles that you get from, you know, kind of static mixing, I guess you'd call it. That's my buck. So, if we're going to be able to see this or not. Yeah, it just looks black. I think if I can get this light to cooperate. There we go. There we go. Now with the proper angle there, we can see the sparkles now. So now you can see what it actually looks like. It's got kind of that cosmic galaxy space look to it. And it has all the little, it has the little red, gold, silver sparkles in it. And so then if we look at the ball, Same deal. You can see the gold and the silver, and it almost looks like it does have like red or orange sparkles in it. I don't know how that actually just putting blue, black, gold, and silver in there gets the red. Maybe it's just the way that the light's hitting the gold flakes or whatever. But
This is Riley's favorite game.
yeah. But again, you go down in there and this, you know, it just looks the same. So this one, for whatever reason, is an extremely easy, and it's dark, so I could have just poured black. I could have just done black and nobody'd ever know the difference. But this one, for whatever reason, is just an extremely easy color to match. So.
And it's pretty.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I don't need a light for this part, so let me see. That's too big. This is the new. Yep, this is the new. And another thing, round plug dams are a scam. Don't fall for it. Because what happens is that you buy the round ones and you buy the oval ones. And there's a few, you'll normally use the bigger oval sizes because you use those on the fingers. And then you'll use kind of the intermediate round dams for like thumb holes and stuff. So you won't hardly ever use the smaller ovals, but you won't hardly ever use the bigger round ones. But, you know, you can take an oval plug dam and you can squeeze it round. So that's the right size. Where's my buck?
So why not take a round plug down and make it wide?
Because the round aren't as big as the largest oval size. The biggest round size, if you make it oval, isn't near as big as the biggest oval size. So.
I know.
I want to make sure that's smashed down pretty flat so that you don't have any leakage. What's your matter, buddy? You poor buddy. You poor buddy. You a damaged buddy? You a damaged buck? All right. Bam. Round plug dam. Round plug dams are a scam. All right. Mix it just a little bit more. Just letting it sit for a minute. I think we got her pretty well mixed earlier. Now we're going to let it sit for a few minutes. It's kind of reduced when you pour it, kind of reduces the swirling, and the swirling can lead to kind of a halo effect on the outside. It ends up with a darker kind of separation around the outside of the plug. So I'll leave that for a minute. Put in some final questions. I'll shut her down after this. Go get Conehead to bed. Clean off my always got to make sure that you clean off the tips of the dye bottles or the tint, so you don't get the caps all nasty. What's matter, buddy? You frustration, buddy? You doing a frustration, buddy? Woof. Gold and silver bottles are the worst because they quite a bit thinner than the other plugs
Come here, baby. My scratch.
and the other
Go on. Come here. Come here.
dyes, tints.
Here. Come here.
Got some questions here. Let's see, which balls are these? Let me see. You can throw both in a video. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have the covert and the Venom Shock in some videos. Hey Luke, how you liking the new brands? I like them quite a bit. They're just the balls are too strong to throw in reconnecting. Oh. So yeah, and I've adjusted my fit a little bit, and so I'm going to reslug the Radical Conspiracy and the Hater because I like these quite a bit, and I think that these actually will be throwable in League. I am again going to get video for the Shock and the Covert here. These feel amazing now. Hackers, yeah. What you talking about, Buck? Talking about, sir?
Tell them it's 9 o'clock, bedtime.
Yeah. More classifications, shenanigans at Nationals. The singles leader in standard should be in regular due to the 10-pin rule. USBC not in a hurry to acknowledge it or correct it. I do remember seeing a post about that, and somebody said, "Yeah, let's see what happens here." He shouldn't have. I mean, that's why they do the green sheet and all the other stuff, is so that they can get your average set to begin with to make sure that you're in the proper division to begin with, so that stuff doesn't happen like this, so that you don't have to re-rate people, so that you don't have to whatever else. But again, you know, he could have incorrectly, or you know, I think they do that stuff because it's kind of a self-verification thing, and then you know it's one of those, if they have to check it later they will, because they have so many thousands of people bowling that manually checking this stuff would be a frickin' nightmare. So I'm not sure if they check absolutely every single average. You know, they probably just save it for if people cash. I mean, obviously, if somebody's in the wrong division and they don't cash, who cares?
I know, but
I'm talking about Buck.
just finish the stream and then you can deal with your fingers. It's not.
You think you might do a review on the new Hypervenom? I would like to. Is that the new conspiracy? Yes. As someone who's been involved in bowling for a long time, how much hype do you feel about a 4-color ball? It doesn't really make a difference. It looks cool. I tend to like these kinds of colors, the kind of darker, more muted. Really like this one. The Hater's cool. I like it. It's different colors, but it's still darker. I don't really like the flashy stuff, and the effect looks cool too because it's got 4 different colors. But it doesn't.
Say you don't like the flashy stuff when you want an evoke and you want a hyper.
Well, yeah, that's fair. Well, I want an evoke. I'm not going to like the way that it, you know, the distraction going down the lane. But I kind of like the classic kind of darker.
Okay, so maybe we just do the hyper and you just admire the evoke from afar.
I really like the way it reacts, though. That's the problem.
You have a Crux Prime down there. Just get
Well, the Intense Fire wasn't a 4-color ball. It was there was an asterisk. Yeah, it was. There was some different. There was a different color mica within one of the other colors. So it was a 3-color ball that would kind of change colors. One of them would kind of change colors if you shone a light on it, but the effect is actually 4 different colors. HK22 is really good stuff, by the way. Somehow the Brunswick's covers are a lot more stable in oil than Storm's are. Storm stuff needs more friction to do what it does. So now, at the same time, that's kind of made a lot of the B7 stuff a little bit too strong for me to throw. However, that's just a lefty problem. Unfortunately, pretty well everything. I said this in one of the recent videos that lefties don't throw urethane because they want to. It's kind of like, well, that's the only thing that doesn't hook off the planet and turn sideways. So it's just one of those things. If you don't need stronger balls, you use weaker ones, and if you don't need faster balls, you use smoother ones. And righties just don't really understand. So when everything else is uncontrollable, you just kind of use what you can use. So, all right, I think we can probably pour this thing now. What's my buck?
Tom Korea.
I know. Sure, we're in good shape here. Actually, I can pull it up here and push it back. So, all right. Bring y'all over. And there we are. See, it's got that nice, swirl in the sparkles, and that's what the ball looks like. That's what the plug looks like. We are in really good shape. Definitely happy with that. So, yep, this one's the blackout. I am rehoming it. And this is one of those, I like the way it reacts. It's just a little too clean and flippy. I generally can't use asymmetric stuff very often. So, let me see, other questions. I guess hang on with that, and I'll finish up the short pen layouts for the win. Then nothing ever happens. Are you going to get Optimum Idle? Probably not. I think it's going to be a little bit too close to the Summit, and I'm just fine with the Summit. I'm not going out of my way to buy. If somebody wants to send me something, I'll definitely make a video for it, but I'm not going out of my way to buy anything to make a video for it. So I will have, but I mean, Zach and Tobias have them, or we'll get them eventually. I hear a lot of pros say the classics are great balls, but they seem to be going to newer releases that are comparable. Do you think this is a manufacturer push? Yeah, it's just they're great balls for like league and stuff, but they're just not quite strong enough for regular use on tour or on the heavier volume patterns. You know, they've been out for long enough that, and phase 2 has been kind of phased out. They don't use that one quite as much anymore because they've got newer, stronger stuff, and the phase 2 with the hardness bump has been a little clean and sharp, so it's not quite the same ball that it used to be. See, this is the problem. Would going with a pin down layout help with the B7 product? No, because when I go pin down, it raises the RG, and so it makes the ball cleaner. It does make the ball cleaner down the lane, but I lose my mid lane stability and everything's still too sharp on the back end. That's one of those, like with the Journey, it was too sharp, and it's like, okay, well, add surface. Well, the amount of surface that it took to slow it down enough also made it too strong. And so it's one of those things. It's like, okay, I go with stronger layouts on the stuff, or kind of, 5-inch pin isn't super strong, but a 2-inch pin buffer is fairly, it drops the RG and raises the differential, so it makes it earlier and a little bit more dynamic. But at the same time, that gives me mid lane stability and mid lane control. If I go pin down, the RG goes up, and so I lose my mid lane control and stability, and it does slow it down on the back end a little bit, but not enough. So then it's just, I've got more over under, I've got a weaker ball, a little bit cleaner one, but it's still turning sideways down lane. So unfortunately, yep, covert revolt, baby. I had a friend that was an old motive staffer that was a motive staffer and found his way into one, and he could never bring himself to drill it because it's one of the originals. It's not the remake or the repour or whatever else
He does still have one of the remakes.
Yeah, he does have one of the remakes, but he couldn't sell it. He couldn't bring himself to drill the original because it's like, okay, well, probably what's going to happen, I'm going to drill it, I'm going to like it, and then I'm going to be mad that I can't get more of them. So, yeah.
Do you want to tell everyone that you might do a podcast?
Sure. And for those of you that are still sticking around, I am planning on doing Sobcast number 2 on Saturday night, I hope. I've been planning on doing one for I had intended to do one like every 2 weeks or something, and then Brunswick stuff happened, and the kids were here and got busy and whatever else, and so stuff has happened. I've been trying to get to one for the last month and it just hasn't happened. I think that it will actually happen on Saturday night, so I'm gonna and the Sobcasts are gonna be more of like, not necessarily rants, but I'm gonna be it's gonna be a little bit more off the rails, a little bit more unfiltered. We're just gonna pick a topic and go with it. The title of the one on Saturday is going to be Staph Infection. Get it? Staph infection. All about, company staffers and why it's not, the ins and outs of that, and why it's not necessarily the best thing to be on staff with a company, why things are getting so crazy, why there's a million different people doing ball reviews now, kind of the ins and outs of the industry, kind of behind the curtain type of stuff, and just take a look both critically and positively. There's plenty of positives about it too. So. So I'm not going to go on a rant and just whine and moan and complain. There's some things, there's some other things to talk about too. That there's reasons that people do clickbaity stuff, and there's reasons that people do everything that they can to get you to click on the video, and because you got to play the YouTube game too. It doesn't matter how good of a video you make if you can't get somebody to click on a video. But it does cause problems to where people are doing clickbaity, nonsensy stuff just to get you to click on the video, and it's not really helpful. So yeah. Buck. Everybody wants to see Buck. How do you like being a free agent? It's definitely better from the YouTube side of
Not a
things.
free agent, independent.
Yeah, independent. Yeah, I'm not a free agent implies that I would take a contract. My days of contracts are definitely over. That's going to be part of the Sobcast. Definitely not signing another contract again. Unless there's actually money involved, a significant amount of money involved, then I might think about it. But as far as just a regular staff contract, no thank
Your
you.
wife's face says no.
Yeah.
Like they'd
I-
have to pay off my mortgage to be able for me to even blink an eye.
This is one of those things that Sam Cooley talked about. Sam Cooley talked about this because he was an SPI staffer with Global and now he's with Motive. And he says it's nice to have the extra choices, but it's also nice to have a smaller amount of equipment so that way you get to know it really well. And sometimes it's paralysis by analysis. Sometimes too many choices is actually a bad thing. And I'm kind of at the point where I have so much stuff coming in so fast that I don't really have a chance to get to know most of the stuff, and so that's good and bad. Having all the options is great, but sometimes it's too many options. So, all right.
Sign of the buck.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna get. Okay, let me push this back here. Get it out the way of Buck. Come here, Harvey.
You want a face like him? I will hurt you.
Storm Dog. Buck. Come here, buddy. Come here. Hi. You want to? I know. Hi. You want to turn around and say hi? Where's Mama? You look at Mama. I know.
If he looks this way, he's gonna come this way.
I know. All right, come here, Buck. Come here.
No,
What?
yep,
Okay.
yep.
You dingo. Come here. What are you doing? Storm Dog. Meese. Okay, you'll come say hi. I know. Boy, it's dry in here. You're staticky, sweetie.
Yeah, come here, Bubba.
Poor doggy.
Come here. I know. Come here.
I know, Buck. Yep. Doing a heckin' injury. It looks worse than it is. He got a cut, but they had to shave his face, and he's got really pink skin. And so then, naturally got some blood and some gunk and whatever else on
his
it.
eyes were watering, and so you've got stitches, eyes watering, and so the drainage basically stained him. So.
Do you have a nice suit ready? Suit? Do I need a suit?
For your funeral?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd hit a uproar with 2000 to smooth it out, but if you've got slow ball speed, the 2000 is going to make it stronger, so you might just go with 3000.
Yes, poor Dingo is right. He did. I took the cone off of him for like 10 seconds last night, seeing how he would do, and he immediately went from back paw trying to scratch his face, so the cone went right back on. But he perked up immediately, so he really just wants the cone off.
Yeah,
Otherwise, he's actually fine.
Yeah, what makes a good house shot ball if house patterns make all balls? Well, a cheaper one. You don't necessarily need to spend a whole bunch of money. You can buy a Venom Shock or a Teal Rhino Pro, Scorpion Low Flare. That's another one. Scorpion Low Flare would be once you knock the dust off, it's $145. So you bring the surface up a little bit, and you've got yourself a really nice league ball for nothing. So Eternity Pie. What's up, Nick? Goodbye, Nick. We're leaving. Oh boy, I got to look the best there. Not sure that's possible. Chuck it, Charminator. So anyway, all right, we got to get out of here because it's time to go to sleepy bye. Buck is not handling it well. He's ready to go to bed, and we've got sheets to change, and we will be back to talk about more stuff on Saturday night on the Sobcast. So thanks a bunch. Appreciate everybody hanging out, and we'll see you next time.